Hello friends, and welcome to the Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. Today, we venture once more into the heart of Utah's Uintah Basin, a place where the lines between science myth and the downright impossible blur into a landscape of breathtaking mystery. I am your guide, a humble scribe of scientific oddities, and what we are about to delve into is not merely an episode of television, it is a meticulous, multi-pronged assault on the secrets that this enigmatic patch of land holds so tightly. The property known as Skinwalker Ranch is a paradox wrapped in a geological anomaly. For centuries, it has been considered an epicenter of strange and disturbing occurrences, a place where the veil between worlds seems perilously thin. The federal government itself spent 2 decades and millions of dollars investigating the property, and their conclusions remain locked away from public view. But now a new team is on the ground, armed with cutting-edge technology and an unyielding determination to find answers. Today, they wage a war on 2 fronts, one deep within the earth and one high in the night sky. Part 1, the war for the Mesa. Our story begins under the harsh Utah sun with the growl of heavy machinery. The team from Mark Construction Drilling is back their faces, a mixture of grit and bewilderment. These are men of the earth accustomed to the predictable challenges of rock and soil. But Skinwalker Ranch is anything but predictable. Their target is the Mesa, a formidable geological structure that looms over the ranch. Previous ground-penetrating radar GPR scans have revealed something extraordinary buried within it, a 400-foot-long object of unknown origin, accompanied by several smaller anomalies. Is it a unique metallic deposit, an ancient unknown structure? Or could it be the holy grail of ufology, a crashed and buried craft? The plan was simple enough: drill a borehole to get a closer look. But on Skinwalker Ranch, simple is a 4-letter word. Last year, their first attempt was plagued by bizarre equipment failures. This year, they returned to widen the initial hole, but something is actively fighting back. The central nervous system of their drilling operation is a device called a beacon, which sits behind the drill bit and communicates its precise location and orientation back to the surface. Without it, they are drilling blind. And time again, as the drill approaches a critical depth within the mesa, the beacon inexplicably malfunctions. It's not just a technical glitch, it's as if the mesa itself has an immune system and their drill is the virus it's trying to expel. The team has identified a potential culprit, an invisible sphere-shaped phenomenon they've dubbed the bubble. This strange energy field, centered on another hot spot called the Triangle, covers a massive area of the ranch, including the drill site. In a stroke of diagnostic genius, they tested this theory. They took the malfunctioning beacon just outside the western boundary of this invisible bubble. Lo and behold, it linked up instantly. The moment they brought it back inside it, died again. Imagine trying to explain that to the equipment manufacturer. Yes, hello, your beacon works perfectly fine in all of North America, except for a 2,000-foot radius sphere on our property. Today, they push forward once more. The drill corkscrews into the earth, pipe after pipe disappearing into the hillside. They make progress, reaching 150 feet. But everyone holds their breath as they approach the 200-foot mark, a depth where time and again the signal has vanished. And right on cue, the strangeness begins. But it's not what they expect. Down in the command center, a new anomaly appears. A signal spikes on their spectrum analyzer at 1.2 gigahertz. This is no random burst of radio noise. Weeks ago, during another experiment, the team's chief of security, Eric, broadcast a 1.2 gigahertz signal as a baseline. In a stunning turn of events, something on the ranch cloned his signal and broadcast an identical one back at them. Now as the drill bit hits 200 feet, it's happening again. But it doesn't stop there. 2 more powerful signals appear, this time at 1.6 gigahertz pointed directly at the drill site. For context, the 1.6 gigahertz frequency band is reserved by the military for Earth-to-space satellite communications. What in the world buried deep inside a mesa is attempting to phone home? Despite the electronic harassment, the drill team perseveres and finally punches through the top of the mesa. A cheer goes up. They have a clear pathway. The next step is to attach a larger reaming bit and pull it back down, widening the hole. The troublesome beacon is removed. It is no longer needed. The reamer begins to turn descending into the hill. Back in the command center, Eric stares at his screen in disbelief. A new signal has appeared, fluctuating right around 34 megahertz. Why is that significant? Because 34 megahertz is the frequency of the drilling beacon, the beacon that is currently sitting in a box turned off. The reaming bit has no electronics, yet something is broadcasting a phantom ghost signal from the borehole. Has the MESA recorded and now mimicked their technology? The mystery deepens when the drillers report their progress or lack thereof. They are grinding against something incredibly hard. Normally, they could ream 5 to 10 feet a minute. After an entire afternoon, they've barely managed 40 feet. The MESA is not giving up its secrets without a fight. Part 2, the hunt for the bubble. As night falls on the ranch, the investigation shifts from the terrestrial to the celestial. The team converges on the triangle, the epicenter of the bubble anomaly. Their goal tonight is as elegant as it is audacious. They are going to paint the invisible. They plan to build massive fires, generating tremendous heat and thick smoke, hoping the particulate matter will be caught in whatever invisible structure exists, allowing them to finally see it. They are joined by thermal imaging expert Dave Mason, armed with a non-commercial differential FLIR camera capable of seeing minute temperature changes, and Pete Kelsey, a master of terrestrial laser scanning and LiDAR. The Avalon Fire Department is on standby to ensure they don't accidentally set the entire state of Utah ablaze. As they prepare, the ranch once again shows its hand. The 1.2 gigahertz signal abruptly springs to life on the spectrum analyzers, a now familiar herald of impending weirdness. The first fire bin has lit a column of heat and smoke ascending into the dark. Then the second, the air fills with thick, billowing clouds. Dave, peering into his thermal camera, suddenly shouts, "Whoa! There's a cold vortex in the heat." On his screen is something that should not exist. Within the plume of superheated air, there are distinct dark circular zones, pockets of intense cold. This is not just counterintuitive. It's a flagrant violation of the laws of thermodynamics. It's like finding a solid ice cube in the middle of a bonfire. Dave, a man who has spent his life looking at the world through thermal imaging, is stunned. There's no physics explanation for this, he says, his voice filled with awe. "I have never observed this, nor would I expect to be able to observe this." These cold spots aren't just flickering anomalies. They are persistent, with one seemingly anchored in place directly above the triangle, appearing to physically repel the heat around it. Travis Ever, the experimentalist, decides to poke the anomaly. "I think I'm going to put a rocket up through there," he declares. They launch a small rocket equipped with a parachute. It shoots straight up, and then something impossible happens. It stops, mid-air. For several seconds, the rocket just hangs there, motionless, a couple of 100 feet up, as if caught by an invisible hand, before its chute finally deploys and it drifts slowly back down. There is no wind to explain the phenomenon. Undeterred, they prepare for a second launch. To maximize the smoke, the firefighters begin to douse the flames with water, creating a massive, dense cloud. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The rocket screams upwards into the smoke. Just as it enters the cloud, a brilliant bluish-white orb of light flies past it at incredible speed. Every single person on the ground sees it with their naked eyes. It's not a meteor or an aircraft. It's a structured, self-luminous object moving with intelligent control. In the immediate aftermath of the flyby, the rocket's parachute fails to deploy. It simply vanishes from sight. Coincidence? On Skinwalker Ranch, there's no such thing. Part 3, the ghosts in the machine. The next day, the team gathers in the command center, bleary-eyed but buzzing with anticipation. Eric has processed the terabytes of data they collected, and his expression says it all. What he shows them is nothing short of world-changing. First, he pulls up night vision footage from before the experiment even began. While they were setting up, a camera captured an anomalous light maneuvering over the mesa precisely when the first 1.2 gigahertz signal appeared. The ranch was already active, watching them. Then comes the LiDAR data. Pete Kelsey's laser scanner was running all night, bouncing light off every particle in the air to create a breathtakingly detailed 3D map. The results are stunning. The LiDAR, as expected, can see the smoke. But the smoke isn't behaving like smoke. On one side, it has a perfectly sharp, straight-edged boundary, as if it's hitting an invisible glass wall and stopping dead. Smoke simply does not do that. Something was containing it. Pete rotates the 3D model. Peering out of the digital smoke cloud is a feature that appears more solid, more dense than the surrounding particles. Travis asks where Dave's persistent cold vortex was on the thermal camera. They point to the exact same spot. They have it. Cross-instrumental confirmation. A physical, heat-absorbing, invisible object was hanging in the air above them all night, and they captured its shadow with two different forms of advanced technology. What about the blue-white orb? Astonishingly, none of the high-speed video cameras captured it. It was too fast, or perhaps it existed in a spectrum they couldn't record. But the LiDAR did. On the scan from that exact moment, suspended in midair, is a single isolated cluster of data points, a digital ghost confirming the impossible thing they all saw. Finally, Eric pulls up the last scan, aiming the virtual camera straight up from the triangle's center. There it is. Etched into the data points of the smoke are massive concentric rings rising like the walls of an invisible coliseum. It's the bubble. After a year of chasing circumstantial evidence, they now have repeatable, hard evidence that a massive bubble-shaped phenomenon encompasses the entire area. The team is left in stunned silence. They have confirmed an intelligent, responsive environment that mimics their technology and interacts with their experiments. They have documented an impossible cold anomaly and captured both its thermal and physical signature. They have witnessed a UAP disable one of their rockets. And they have finally mapped the walls of the invisible prison or portal that defines Skinwalker Ranch. The question is no longer, is something happening here? The question is, what do we do now? The answer, as always, on Skinwalker Ranch is to push harder. Bigger rockets, more advanced sensors, and more courage. Part 4, the path forward. Back in the command center, the weight of their discovery settles over the team. The data is undeniable, but it opens a Pandora's box of new questions. The object in the mesa seems to be electronically aware, broadcasting signals on restricted frequencies. The sky above them is home to a colossal invisible structure that contains physics-defying cold spots and is patrolled by high-speed, unidentified aerial phenomena. So Travis begins breaking the silence. We've established a clear link between the activity in the ground and the activity in the air. The bubble seems to be the key. He proposes a new, more aggressive phase of experimentation. The small rockets were a good start, but we were just poking it. Now we need to launch a full-scale sensor package right into its heart. The plan is to acquire larger, more powerful rockets capable of carrying a sophisticated payload. They'll pack them with magnetometers to detect magnetic field fluctuations, Geiger counters to measure radiation, multispectrum cameras to see beyond the visible light range, and atmospheric sensors to analyze the air composition within the cold spots. They will track the rocket's trajectory with pinpoint precision monitoring for any deviation, any sign of an external force acting upon it, just like the one that stalled their first launch. The goal is twofold. First, to gather quantitative data on the bubble's properties. Is it electromagnetic? Is it gravitational? Does it emit radiation? Second, to provoke a response. The ranch has repeatedly shown that it is an interactive system. By launching a more complex technological package into the anomaly, they hope to trigger a more complex reaction, perhaps even a clearer form of communication than the mimicked radio signals they've received so far. It is a high-risk, high-reward strategy. What they are investigating is not passive. It is active, intelligent, and powerful. They have seen it disable their equipment from a distance. The potential for danger is real and escalating. Yet for this team, the drive to understand, to pull back the curtain on one of the greatest mysteries of our time, outweighs the risk. They are no longer just observing strange lights. They are engaged in a dialogue with an unknown intelligence, and they are determined to learn its language. Part 5 echoes in the void. The implications of the team's findings extend far beyond the ranch's perimeter fence. What they have documented is a potential paradigm shift. The consistent electronic mimicry, the cloned 1.2 gigahertz signal, and the phantom 34 megahertz beacon transmission is perhaps the most profound and unsettling discovery of all. It transforms the phenomenon from a mere physical anomaly into a responsive learning system. This isn't just a force of nature like lightning or a geological curiosity. It displays behaviors that suggest observation analysis and replication. It raises the chilling question, for how long has this intelligence been here, silently watching and learning from our own technological evolution? This concept forces a reevaluation of the entire UAP phenomenon globally. Are other sightings and encounters also interactions with a responsive adaptive intelligence rather than just passive observations of nuts and bolts craft the Skinwalker Ranch data suggest that the how of the phenomenon, how it moves, how it appears and disappears, may be less important than the why. Why does it respond to specific frequencies? Why does it seem to focus on certain locations like the triangle and the mesa The team must now grapple with the idea that they are not merely scientists studying a subject, but participants in a complex, unfolding interaction. Every experiment they design, every frequency they broadcast is another question posed to the void. And the void, it seems, is beginning to answer. The cold spots in the smoke, the stalled rocket, the blue orb, these are no longer just data points. They are messages written in a language of physics they are only just beginning to decipher. The path forward is fraught with uncertainty, but for those standing on the edge of discovery, there is no turning back. The secrets of Skinwalker Ranch are not just secrets about a piece of land in Utah, they may well be the secrets of reality itself. Part 6, The New Frontier. For generations, the stories from this region were passed down as folklore and cautionary tales, legends of shapeshifters, portals and lights in the sky that defied explanation. They were accounts confined to the realm of myth, easily dismissed by the empirical world. But what this episode demonstrates so powerfully is that the age of myth is ending and the age of measurement has begun. The team is accomplishing something unprecedented. They are charting the topography of a legend. Using LiDAR, they have mapped the invisible walls of the bubble. With thermal cameras, they have imaged impossible cold spots that violate known physics. With spectrum analyzers, they have recorded intelligent signals that appear to be direct responses to their actions. They are in essence replacing folklore with data, creating the first ever scientific framework for a phenomenon that has long resisted it. This is the new frontier. It is not a distant planet or a new continent, but an overlapping layer of reality that has been here all along, hidden in plain sight. The work at Skinwalker Ranch represents a courageous step into that frontier, armed not with superstition, but with the scientific method. They have proven that the mystery is real, it is interactive, and it is far more complex than any legend could have conveyed. They have knocked on a door that has remained unanswered for millennia, and the echoes are just beginning to return. After strange signals and unexplained anomalies shake the team, Episode 3 takes the investigation deeper into the ranch. What they uncover could be the most dangerous evidence yet. Don't miss Episode 3 at 5:00 p.m. on the 2nd of October 2025.